the heaven concept in religion takes a very significant role in discussion, this heaven concept. And usually people, when they discussed about heaven, religiously or spiritually, they discussed from a few perspectives. And of course, the perspectives relate to questions they ask. Where is heaven? How do we go to heaven? So where is heaven is the how to get there. Or where is it? Where? How to go there? How? When can we go there? The how, the where, the when. And perspectives such as, is it a permanent place? Perspectives such as a reward. Is it a reward from God? In many religions it says, if you follow God, if you believe in God, if you have faith in God, when you die, you go to heaven. And that poses another perspective. Is it fair to all beings? You believe in God, and if I don't, that means I can't go to heaven? Should God be fair? I mean, only if you believe in me, then you go to heaven. For those who don't believe in me, you don't go to heaven. So that means you're setting up a demarcation between believers and non-believers. And what's the definition of a God? You mean a God takes sides politically? Like you have a Democratic Party, you have a Progressive Party, and you're my members, and you're not my members. Well, is that the definition of a God? Do you consider all these questions? Or you don't really care about it? Just go to heaven. And then we also ask questions. Is it a permanent place? In some religions it says the final day will come when there's resurrections and everybody gets up from the tombs and go to heaven. That is an awful view. Everybody gets up from the ground and then go to heaven. If everybody gets up from the ground up to being dead for hundreds of years, you mean all the skeletons stand up and ready to go? Or at that time they already resumed their original bodies? All this poses a lot of mystical thinking in minds. Some of these questions can be answered. Some require deep thinking to answer. And also, given that everybody's wisdom is not the same, it does not matter what answer you give. Some people don't get it. It does not matter what kind of answers. Because wisdom has different levels. Give you an example. Wisdom can step from a level of materiality to non-materiality. We call it stepping from the physical to the metaphysical. From the physical to the philosophical. So, why am I talking about this? I'm talking about a sutra. But this is just to give you a prelude, an example as to in what way should you think. Do you just follow blindly in God, and that is it? And who qualifies for going to heaven? How to get there? It all contains in this sutra, the Sutra of Amitabha Buddha. The Buddha at that time, when he was gathering the assembly and giving out a lecture on the Sutra of Amitabha about going to heaven and what is this place and who is the professor in there, who is the main speaker in there. The Buddha dwelt together with these and many other great disciples and together with many noble-minded Bodhisattvas such as Manjushri, the prince, the Bodhisattva Ajita, the Bodhisattva Gandhahastin, the Bodhisattva Niyodyukta, the Bodhisattva Andizipatura. He dwelt together with them and many other noble-minded Bodhisattvas up to there. Bodhisattvas other Buddhas to be, and they have different levels. You are also a Buddha to be, because you've got that Buddha nature in you. Everybody will become the Buddha if you practiced accordingly. Everybody has that God nature in everybody. There's no permanent demarcation between God and the follower. The God is right inside of your mind, not physically somewhere else. So this Bodhisattva is Sanskrit for never resting. This Bodhisattva was so full of determination that his efforts were endless and it did not require any rest. Bodhisattva Niyuk Yukta Chang Jing Jin Pusa, Sanskrit for ever vigorous. The Bodhisattva was always rigorous in his cultivation. Bodhisattva Anik Zipta Dura Buchi Jing Jin Pusa, Sanskrit for not giving up on efforts. This Bodhisattva never gave up on his cultivation even in times of extreme hardship. So all these Bodhisattvas and so on were with the Buddha. And why did the sutra particularly mention these few? Because these are the very vigorous, very diligent Bodhisattvas who never give up on the practice. They have the very high determination in their spiritual odyssey, in their Buddha to be course. So I have explained all that. And let's explain another audience. Sakra, the Indra king of the Devas. He is the ruler of Trayasrimsas heaven, Dao Li Tian. He is the protector of Buddhism. He was once a Brahmin in Magadha, India. He cultivated the 10 virtuous deeds and was reborn in that heaven as his king. So he's a heaven king. And when we talk about that, now this is the king in a certain heaven. And according to the Buddhist scriptures, according to the Buddha's teaching, there's not only just one heaven. There's so many heavens. And that, when we mention this word heaven, we always want to ask ourselves a question. What is heaven located? If I have to go there, I have to find out its location, right? If you want to find out location of the heaven, you really have to study the Buddhist cosmology, which is the shape and the evolution of the universe, according to scriptures. Not just blindly believe, oh, there's a heaven. You don't know where, you don't know how, you don't know, you don't know its location, you don't know how it gets there. So you really have to study it in detail, not just blindly believe in heaven. So let's talk about a little bit on a Buddhist cosmology, about the cosmos. You know what the cosmos is? The whole universe. How does this universe wake up? And what's the evolution of it? Are there any beings in other universes? A few hundred years ago, we don't believe in a world other than the world you live in. But then when we land on the moon, we know that there's many other places. The Buddha already said 2,600 years ago, the universe is unlimited. In those days, India would just say, oh, India is the only world. Or China, oh, we are in China, we are the only place. Until they discovered North America. They know there's so many other places. Until people venture by ships to go to different places, then they know that, then they extend the limitless of the horizon. Human intelligence is still very restricted. We explore more and more, but we are still very restricted. Maybe a few hundred years from now, humans discover something that we can't even dream of these days. Maybe 100 years from now, we can fly to the moon. Maybe we will visit your grandparents or visit your friends by just not driving a car, putting a knapsack on your back and push a button and then boom, you shoot over there. You don't have any parking problem. but you will have traffic accidents in the sky. That's my imagination. So let's talk about Buddhist cosmology. We call it the planes of existence. We exist in a location. And you know these locations had 3 tiers to it, 3 realms to it. Ram meaning location, but this location is so vast, so magnificent, so unlimited, so boundless, no boundary at all. Let's look at the lowest level first. We call it the Kamadhatu, the desired ram, Yu Jie. The next ram, higher level, is the Arupadhatu, the form ram. And then another higher level is Arupadhatu, the formless ram. And then going back to the Kamadhatu, the desired ram. Why is it called a desired ram? Because in that ram, that's the ram that we're living in now. We are now, you and I, we're in a desire ram because we always have insatiable desires. We have the desires to be rich, we have the desire to eat, desire to be rich, wealth, reputation, desire to man and woman relationship, all kinds of desires in this world. We call it the desire ram. The desire ram is, of course, having forms. This desire ram is made up of matter, protons, electrons, and neutrons. We're made up by matters. We're made up with material. So this desire also has material. In other words, I can see this book. Everything is made up of material. You, your body, everything is made up of material plus desire. Material plus desire. And the desire wants material, and desire grow up from materials. So we're living in a materialistic world. You're always striving to satisfy your desires by looking for material. You seldom look for anything that is non-material. If you start to look for something non-material, you start to be philosophical. If you start to be philosophical, you start to build up your wisdom. But how many people start to be philosophical? Or they're thinking of wealth, money, reputation, food, sleeping, drinking, partying, playing, you name them. Everybody has been doing that. We're in the desire realm. We look for material. Beings in here differ in degree of happiness, but they are all, other than Buddhas and Arahats, under the domination of Mara. What is Mara? Mara is a Sanskrit word for devil, and are bound by sensual desires which cause sufferings. We are dominated by devil. And would you ask the question, what is devil? Is it a guy with a horn, 2 horns, and holding a shaft, and then in front of the TV, and ugly faces showing up at you and say, you follow me? Is that a Mara? The Mara, the devil, is not anywhere. It's also within you. You have that Mara in you, that ego in you, that is dominating you. It's your mind. It's very interesting. Your mind dominates you. You are the God, you're the devil. You have that God and devil in you. 1 minute you're God, the next minute you're a devil. Do you have that experience? I always give that experience of driving a car. You're driving a car, somebody honk. Do you know how to drive? That's the devil in you. And then the next minute you say, oh no, I should keep myself cool. I should watch road safety. I shouldn't get mad. Oh, suddenly the God concept is coming in. You're always that way. We're always that way. If you're dominated more by Mara, you're in trouble. How many people are nourished by that God instead of dominated by Mara? You tell me. Okay, I don't want to go into details. I'm watching the clock right there. I want to finish the whole page today. I've been talking for 5 lectures and I can't even finish the page 1. I don't know if that's Mara or God, but I try to keep it the right way. Okay, so we are living in this world of the desire world, and then we're thinking, are there any other beings in other classification? The Buddha said, yes, we are in the lowest classification. We have sensual desires to satisfy, which cause suffering. And we are acting just the opposite. We thought that sensual desires are good for us. That's the reason why you're looking for relationship. That's the reason why you think that I got pleasure in sensual desires. That's the reason why people have man and woman relationship, one night stand, you name them. They thought it's pleasure, but it's a Mara, because you are dominated by it. Let's look higher beings than us. Arupadhatu, the form realm, this is a physical realm, and its inhabitants all have a body and location. Their bodies are composed of a subtle substance, which is of itself invisible to the inhabitants of the Kamadhatu. We can't see them. Sentient beings here are not governed by desires for things pleasing to the senses. Their bodies do not have sexual distinction. They always enjoy happiness as materials come naturally and spontaneously as they wish. So in other words, there's another realm, we call it Arupadhatu. Rupa means matter, Dhatu means realm. So in that location, beings there, they don't have any desires, but they still have form. And the careless thinker would think, or the naive thinker would think, oh, that's good. We have a form, we have desires. But it's because of desires that we suffer. These people, they already transcend desires. They don't have any more attachment and not being dominated by sensual pleasures. We are. Our eyes want to see beautiful things. Our ears want to listen to praises, not criticisms. Our tongue want to taste meat. We don't care about killing animals. We like to taste the meat. We like to kill them for food. We like fish, we like chicken, we like cows, we like goat, we like lamb chop, we like steak, you name lobsters. We don't care killing them. We've created a lot of karma, but we like our tongue to taste that, what we call deliciousness. We don't care about the expense of hurting sentient beings, at the expense of killing sentient beings. We incur a lot of karma, sure, but we don't care. But in that level, Arupadhatu, they don't have that kind of desires. They already have transcended all these desires, but they haven't completed their enlightenment. They still have a body. You think your body is good? Our body is a burden. Your body is a burden. Your body is no good. We don't want to abuse this body, of course, but you come with this karmic body. You got to protect it. You can't just abuse it. Nobody would abuse a body unless you commit suicide or you hurt yourself. But in that level, they transcend desires. So they don't have any more desires, but they still have a form because they haven't completed the enlightenment yet. And having a body, they already have getting rid of their desires, which is much more superior to us. We not only have form, not only do we have forms, we have desires that pull us down. But they don't have any desires. They are higher level sentient beings, but they still have forms. They don't have a sexual relationship anymore. In other words, there's no such thing as you're a woman and I'm a man. But people think it otherwise. They always think that, oh, it's good to have women and men. But in there, these beings, they live without that distinction because they transcend it already. Being in that realm, I talk about the characteristics of that realm. How do they differ from us in their mentality? Now, first of all, they're extremely happy. They're not like us. So we're sad, we are depressed, we are angry, we're jealous, we got fear, we got disappointment, we cry, we weep, life is suffering. We kill each other in wars, genocide, criminal offense, any kind of these things induce suffering. In there, none of these things. Only happiness. That's what we call heaven. That's a location for heaven. But I yet want to have more details to tell you about the divisions of heavens in there. That is heaven. Only happiness. Other than happiness, they enjoy longevity. In other words, we only live for 100 years. Our death will show up pretty soon. You may think it's remote. It's not. We always think of death as something so remote from us. I'm only 23, I'm only 30, I'm only 50, I still have another 50 years to go. It's not like that. Death is unexpected. Nobody knows what happened tomorrow. Do you know? You could be healthy today, or you could be unhealthy today. You could pronounce death today, and then tomorrow the doctor said, no, it's a miracle, you survive. Or it's vice versa. You could be healthy today, one accident will take your life away. Not even tomorrow. Maybe the next hour. We don't know. But in there, they enjoy longevity. Their lifespan, it differs from one heaven to another for millions of years. Long term, long happiness. How come they have that? Because in their cultivation, they have done a lot of good deeds. I have more to tell you about this. I can't rush this because this concept, some of you have already heard about that concept, but it's always good to review about it so that you can tell others about the heaven. Actually, if you look into heaven concept, that is the most significant, the most important concept in a belief. So there's Arupadhatu. How many heavens are there? 18 heavens. Every heaven is a little different. Why is every heaven a little different? Because everybody's cultivation is different. Even in this world of desire, not to talk about the Arupadhatu, which is the higher realm, everybody's different. You are richer than me. You're prettier than me. You're uglier than me. You are healthier than me, or vice versa. Why all these inequities, inequalities? Because of what your karma has brought you to where you are, not God. Nothing to do with God. It's you yourself. You did that. You created your own destiny. You created your own cause. You realize this retribution. Good cause, good effect. Bad cause, bad effect. Neutral ones, neutral effect. That's causality. That's Arupadhatu. Now we go one higher level, Arupadhatu. When we get A in there, that means just the opposite of it. No form. Into a formless realm. In there, they are much better than the lower two levels. They don't have a body anymore. No material anymore. Only consciousness left. This body is a burden. Even though this body is a burden, we hang on to it, we're attached to it. In hospice care, volunteers of hospice care always say, we try to comfort the dying patient, but they are choking and panting and waiting for hours, for days, for months, and they can't go. They're always on oxygen. Why? Because they don't want to leave their body. They're attached to their body so much. Not just to their body, to families, to properties, to houses. Some may even to a diamond ring. They can't go. An old woman could be on the verge of death, and in her mind she thought, oh, I still left my 2 carats diamond ring in a deposit box in TD Bank. I can't talk now. I forgot where my key is. I gotta tell my daughter, I can't talk. I gotta talk for this. She lingered on for months. going back to Arupadhatu. This ram has no place in a purely physical cosmology, as none of the beings inhabiting it has either shape or location. And correspondingly, the ram has no location either. This ram belongs to those devas who attain and remain in the four absorptions of the Arupadhatu dhyanas in the previous life, and now enjoys the fruits, vipaka, of the good karma of that accomplishment. Some people may not even understand this, but anyway. Up to the Arupadhatu, there's no physical form. When there's no physical form, that means no matter. There's no protons, no electrons, no molecules, no matters. When there's no matter, if there's no matter, you think there's a location? But it's not even matter. How can you say of a location? A location gives us the idea that it's a place, or it's a place as a matter. But how can you say, well, where is this Arupadhatu? It has no form. At that time, those people in there, they achieve a very high level of spirituality. Of course, they're in extreme happiness. They live very long, but they still haven't finished the enlightenment. In other words, they still haven't, if I put it in common English, if we thought of enlightenment as purifying the mind, it gets to a level that they almost purified it extremely clean, but they still have taints and pollutants in it, and they haven't finished it. We have all kinds of pollutants. We're in the lowest realm. The Arupadhatu has a ram. In other galaxies, in other universes, they still have a location. But this Arupadhatu transcend material, they don't have a location. And some naive thinkers will say, poor, they don't even have a location. You have a location, you are the poorer sentient beings than them. Because to them, the space is the location. Their mind is the whole unlimited space. Imagine, our mind is only within here, but their mind is space. It's as wide as space. It's like you're living in a little hut. Now all of a sudden you're flying out to the sky, all by yourself, you're the pilot, and you see all these boundless vistas of horizon, of sceneries in front of you. All of a sudden you are elevated to a level that the world is like this. I was living in that shack. But they were up much higher level. So remember, these three planes of existence, desire ram, the form ram, and the formless ram. We are in the desire ram, you and I. We're poor guys. We're so sympathetic with each other that we are living in a world of suffering. And there's other beings. They're not ETs. ETs could be still in here. Have you heard of ETs? ET could be still in here at a higher level. The people's imagination, people have that wisdom. Some of them have that wisdom to imagine much higher. And those are kind of people who are wiser. And that shows in the box office too. They make money because they know how to imagine. Let's just talk about the first hour level, the world with form and desires. 6 categories of sentient beings in it. We are one of them. That is the devas. We call them gods. Many gods, not just one. There's also the asuras. I explained it to you what asuras mean. Humans, animals, ghosts, and victims of hell. What is asuras? Asuras is another classification that fit into the other 5. For example, in animal realm, the tame goat who won't hurt anybody, the tame deers who won't hurt anybody, they're not the asuras. The ferocious lions and tigers who bite on all others, junior animals, they are the asuras. the ferocious, the competitive, the higher level in power. Who are the Asuras in human realm? Hitler, tyrants, people who suppress others, killers. In every one of these 5 other realms, there are a classification that fit into the Asuras realm. There are classifications like that. We are inhuman. Even in human, there is inequalities in it, and victims of hell. So there are beings in these 6 locations. What is devas? Devas are gods. Gods are the highest level of the 6. In this Kamadhatu, this ram has 6 heavens in it. In other words, just in this desired ram, there are 6 heavens. Now these are the lower level of heavens. We're not even in heaven. We are much lower than these 6. We're not in heaven. That these are the heavens, the different levels of heavens. Now this, for example, the first level, Chatur Maharaja Yikha. One day there, celestial day, is equivalent to 50 years in us. So in other words, when they pass one day, day and night, they pass one day, in here it's already 50 years. So the time in our time is different. They are the heaven time. The heaven time. The higher they are, for example, the second level, Trayastram Saha. It's one day, celestial day and night is equivalent to human world of 100 years. Nama Deva Loka, one celestial day and night is equivalent to human world of 200 years. Tujita heaven, one day and night, human world 400 years. Nirmana Ratha Yaha, one day and night, human world is 800 years. In the top one day and night is 1,600 years. Para Nirmita Vasa Ratinaya, it's 1,600 years. So they enjoy a much longer lifespan than us. And the time is different. They only enjoy happiness. But then their happiness is not as happy as the form realm. There's a lot more to talk about this. Who qualified to go to heaven in just the desire realm? And there's heaven in the desire realm, there's heavens in the form realm, there's heavens in the formless realm. We are at the lowest level. If we get enlightened, if we become the Buddha, what happened to us? Which heaven we go to? There's another question will come up like that. Oh, fine, everything we talk about is good. I mean, you give me a lot of information, so we can be a Buddha. So if I become a Buddha, which heaven would I go to? I'm interested in what I get. I want to get a heaven. I want to go to heaven. If you become the Buddha, where are you? If you become Buddha, you're not there anymore. You're not in the free planes of existence anymore. You transcend life and death. None of these. You are still in reincarnation. If you are in the free planes of existence, we want to get out from this. We want to go to nirvana. We're going to go to, what is a better word for it? Buddhahood? What is another word for it? Anuttara Samya Sambuddhi? What word you like to use does not matter. You have to use a word. Some people say, why are you calling it Buddha? Can I call it somebody else? Call it whatever you want to say. Tathagata can't be expressed by words, but you need words.